Hey everyone, and thanks for joining. Today, as you can see from the title of this video, we'll be going over all my favorite shows from the last Paris Fashion Week. For those of you who don't know, there's two moments where we call it Fashion Month, right? Where fashion houses, they bring their shows and they do fashion shows. Once in January and once I think in July or near summer. Basically in January normally they do the fall winter for next year, and then in summer they do the spring summer for next year. So every year is the same. And the most I would guess the most prestigious, or the one that everyone goes, all of the main big brands go, is Paris Fashion Week, which happened last week. So I wanted to make this video to kind of, as we do here, highlight all the best shows that I really liked, all the best looks, and go very in-depth of each one, and my favorite brands, of course, since that is what I most love. So it's gonna be a long one. I think I'm gonna be featuring 5 of my favorite ones, and then tell you some of my other favorites that didn't make the cut, so you can check them out by yourselves. But we'll be featuring 5 basic ones here and going pretty in-depth for each one. So it's gonna be a long one. Grab a drink or whatever. I'm gonna leave the timestamps of every show I talk about in the description, so if you're not interested in some of these brands, you can just jump right to it. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, so the first show I wanted to feature here was the latest Undercover show. Undercover its main designer is Jun Takahashi. He's been doing it for many years. They're very famous for past archive collections about television and stuff like that. But Undercover has always been a very, very important Japanese brand. And Jun Takahashi also always brings to the table something very, very interesting. Last year he did this fashion show based on tribes. The tribes he created, and then the year before that he kind of made the whole dystopian future kind of factions. You can definitely check out his past collections. Jun always brings something very, very interesting to the table. And to be honest, this year he showed pretty much one of my favorite shows ever from Undercover, taking heavy inspirations from movies and authors like he's done in the past. Last season he took some inspiration from Stanley Kubrick from 2001 Space Odyssey, and he showcased all of that in the garments. But this year he had a few different inspirations. First of all, the movie Clockwork Orange, and the way the Droogs wear their clothes, specifically the main character Alex. He based a lot of what he put into the runway from that character, from the bowler hats to the noses, the sticks that they show in the movie, etc. Then also 2 other inspirations, and something he put in his clothes was Beethoven and also Edgar Allan Poe. This collection, Jun collaborated with Mason Valentino, working in a few different coats and other pieces that I'll be sure to show you here. And then also in the Valentino one showed from Jun, which was very, very interesting. So like we did last time, we're gonna go in depth of some of the looks. I'm gonna look at them here in my computer. Right, so the first look from the runway is this one. As you can see the masks with long pointed noses. It was I think featured in the rape scene of the home invasion in Clockwork Orange, if I'm not mistaken. But they give you a little bit of while still capturing what the movie, the whole impact of the mask that they were using in the movie. It also reminds me a bit of the beak mask from the Plague Doctors. Here you have the bowling hat with a feather, and the whole look is a bit of a mix between modern streetwear and then a little bit of the Victorian, and also that whole Droogs Clockwork Orange look. I really love the colors here. If we go to the next look, I want to feature this look because of the knitwear Jun put into this collection is very good. Here you can see the stick, the same thing that they use in Clockwork Orange. A thing I really like about June is that he uses colors in a great way. And here you can see this featured here with the blue, the black, the white, and the cream. Moving on, here's another example of another knit piece, which is amazing and definitely something very worth to buy. Here, this next look for me is one of the best ones. Here again, we have this mix between Victorian streetwear with those new Nike shoes that he's bringing, and then the gloves and the colors. For me, the cardigan and the beret on top tie this look all amazingly, and it's one of the feature ones from this collection. Then again, this one of my favorites. I mean, I could see myself wearing this exact same thing, but without the mask, of course. But I really like the mask motif. How he changed it a little bit from the movie. He didn't exactly take it from the movie and make it the grotesque thing it was in the movie, but refined it a little bit to tie in a little bit more with everything he was showing. Again, here you can see not something I really like, but something I wanted to showcase. How he puts these prints on his jackets. It worked along with the whole television, putting the cover on his jackets. He did it with 2001: Space Odyssey. Here he's doing it again, showing a bit of the movie where the main character is being brainwashed. I believe I watched it a long time ago. I don't really remember the plot very much. Then again here another print about when Alex is in the hospital after he was trying to be brainwashed. Again, a great look. Those bowl hats, I think they're called bowl hats in English, but I'll put something here if I'm wrong. But then here again another look, and here you can see on the crew neck the reference to Beethoven. Again, great. I really like how June mixes music sometimes into his collection. Not sometimes, but most of the times he's putting some music reference in there. And here we can see one of the first jackets that were a collaboration with Maison Valentino. Here you can see very nice camel coat with those little print of I think some UFOs or something. Great, very wearable piece. Very wearable. And here then you can see another Maison Valentino collaboration with Undercover. Very graphic, big jacket, and with this I don't know if it's corduroy, but again, ties in very well. And finally, June closed the show with this 5 looks, all in red, all in blood red, with some roses on the back, all dressed like a Droog, like a futuristic Droog from Clockwork Orange, and I think it's great. Overall, for me, one of my favorite Undercover collections of the last few years. A lot of very wearable pieces and something to keep an eye out for in the future. Undercover always brings a strong show, always. Right, so next up we've got the Rick Owens show. Every year Rick shows his menswear show in Paris. The last few years has been amazing. Last year he made a very cool one with this smoke towers with different colors and a whole architectural motif he repeated all around his other his clothes. So this year Rick brought a whole different vibe to it. He brought something completely different from what he's been doing earlier, but again bringing it back from other looks from the past. We might call this show, this recent show, as a return to the glam Rick. Rick Owens has always been in love with the whole glam era of music and fashion. He's showed it a few times in the past, a few bits and pieces here, but I don't think he's never gone as fully glam as he went here. This collection is called Larry, and is inspired by Larry Legaspi, which was a fashion designer who designed a lot of costumes and clothes for very famous rock bands like Kiss, for example. If you know the band Kiss, they're dressed in a very extravagant manner, and that was all designed by Larry Legaspi. So what Rick did is he based a lot of his looks in this collection from what Larry Legaspi did. And every model was wearing some platform shoes, very structured blazers on the shoulders, very androgynous and very out there. Also with all the colors he brought, normally Rick doesn't bring these many colors, but a lot of glam era attitude, very rock and roll, very specifically minded looks that he brought here. All in all, not my favorite one, of course, but I really respect Rick because he never brings the same thing to the table. He always has his creative ethos, but he's such a good designer that he always brings something different, something new, something impactful, and then again, something that a lot of people are attracted to. So let's get into the looks. First look, one of the most bare bones and basic ones. I really like this coat, this overcoat. It has Larry Legaspi Corporation or something on the sleeves, and then as you can see on the shoulders, it's very structured. It gives a little bit of a geometric form, and then that he continues all over through the show, and also with the platform shoes. The second look I wanted to feature because of the colors, very impactful colors, very different from everything that Rick has done. And to be honest, the pant structure and then the long coat brings a very different silhouette to what we're seeing. Here, another very cool jacket that has different materials on it. It has some leather pockets and then a wool exterior, and a very cool look. And if you can see with those platforms, you can see the whole Legaspi Kiss influence. Here, the same jacket, another color, very particularly impactful and loud colors that Rick is bringing. Here is another very basic look, but very wearable look. I could see a lot of people wearing it. You have to have a type of style that can bring those platforms in to your style. So if you, but there's a lot of people who love it, and I think this collection is very driven to a lot of people who like to wear clothes like that and are gonna exactly appreciate a lot of these platforms, all this structure. That's it. In conclusion, this Rick show was very good. Absolutely not for me as it was the last season's show, but I definitely appreciate what Rick brings. I'm always excited about every show he does. Right, so the next show, and one that impacted me a lot, is the latest Raf Simmons show. I know Raf Simmons, the god of fashion, whatever, but to be honest, from all his latest runways, which have been very lukewarm for me, this one has just like clicked with me. It's like, yes, I would wear this, all of this. So, as you guys might or might not know, Raf Simmons was the creative director of the new kind of high fashion line from Calvin Klein 205 NYC something, and he had a 3-year contract, but he was, I don't know if fired, but left after 2 years, after 2 collections. You might know they were very popular collections. The first one based on Americana and the whole cowboy looks. Second one he did the first year was kind of firefighter inspired, and then he did a little bit of like Jaws meets a Graduation, something around those lines. Very lukewarm for me, not very, didn't really click with me. So since Raf left Calvin Klein, right, everyone's eyes are on him, right? I mean, it's very surprising that he left Calvin. There's a lot of different issues, but people are saying one of the main issues is that the price of the garments was a bit too high for being Calvin Klein. But anyways, everyone's eyes were on Raf. Raf said that he finished this collection before he knew he was leaving Calvin, so that might be something about it. But everyone was looking at this collection as a redemption, or like, can Raf still do it? And I have to say he does. For me, all of the looks in this runway were amazing. Especially the outerwear. For me, the outerwear was clicking so much with me. Those very long black jackets with the different designs. Some of them had some pockets here, but they were just right. It kind of reminded me a lot of avant-garde fashion, a lot of Yohji fashion. But anyways, let's dive into the looks. This first look, and for me one of the most amazing ones, is this one with the very long wool jacket, and he featured all around the show these kind of parrotesque, I would say they're parrotesque, kind of buccaneer hats, I don't know. But anyways, I know this look is very simple, but for me the design, the tailoring is perfect. Then second look for me, another great one. This jacket is just beautiful. All around this collection, the outerwear is like, take my money, please. And then finally, I wanted to showcase this short bomber with the pants. Again, it kind of might be a very simple collection, but for me, it really clicked with me. All the outfits, everything that was out there for me was very good and very strong. I don't want to dive very deep into it because I'm not an expert in Raf Simmons, but for me it was one of the highlights. Alright, so next we go into another one of my favorite ones, and one I always look forward to is the Yohji Yamamoto fashion show. So every year Yohji presents in the same place, or at least the last few years, and he said that he based this new collection on military, an inspiration a lot of designers use. What I've noticed about Yohji the last few seasons is that he's moving a bit towards more loud pieces, more prints. He was very famous of being very monochromatic, very simple, black, different textures. But the last few years, he's been showing some very nice outerwear and shirts and etc. with a lot of prints, a lot of different prints, very tastefully made, and I really like them. I have to say, I really like them. I know they're not very minimalist or very, they still keep their avant-garde spirit, but with this whole prints and different ways to show it. So yeah, I really like this new show. I think it was very good, very creative, but some of the pieces felt a bit like I don't want to say cheap, but kind of like too much, like even like Balmain-esque, you know, like Balmain-esque a little bit, you know. But we'll see it together in the featured looks I have. All right, so for the first look, for me, this one is great. Simple, long jacket with this perfect color up, and then the pants, the matching pants with this kind of dark print that looks a bit like I don't know, like fog, etc. Very classic Yohji look. And as you can see in the shirt, there's some raw strings or coming off, which is a very avant-garde thing. Again, this look is pretty good. And then I want to feature this one because it's been a coat that Yohji has released last season, and I've seen it also in Anne. It's this kind of convertible coat that has a very long side and then a long back, kind of contrasting a little bit, bringing a new silhouette to the table. But as you can see, very graphic, very heavy. If you are not into the graphics, then you will not like this at all. But again, the tailoring is great, the cuts are great. Next one, and for me, my favorite one, this striped jacket is cool, so cool. Definitely a very wearable piece. I know if it's Yohji, it's going to be astronomically expensive, but still a very cool piece. It could be from Anne, it could be from any avant-garde brand, but from the master Yohji himself, this coat is amazing. And then here I wanted to feature this jacket or blazer that has these kind of motifs of letters, reminding me a little bit of Matrix. And again, as I've said, if you don't like graphics, they could be very ugly, but for me, if this is tastefully combined with other avant-garde pieces, I think it would look great, and I think it's a very look. The pants, they're not my favorite ones, a little bit weird with the whole cinching on the ankle and then very big on the thighs, but very cool nonetheless. And here I wanted to show you a little bit more of the military looks, very hard Demeulemeester vibes here with the whole combat boots, all the black, the layering, etc. One of the best looks, definitely. All in all, a very cool Yohji show. I liked it. It's very mixed. It's not one of my favorites for sure, but definitely something new. I mean, the man has been making clothes for longer than I've been alive, probably. So, I mean, it's very cool that he brings this to the table and doesn't go too far with it, to be honest. Alright, so finally, the show I had been most looking forward to was the new Demeulemeester show. For the past few seasons, since ever since Sebastian came into being the creative director of Anne, he has been hitting it every season, every collection, both men and women. For me, it totally connected with me. It definitely made me say, I wanna wear clothes like that. I wanna dress like that, and absolutely hit it with every fashion show. You're like, I want this piece. It looks so good. So after the last few collections, I've been looking forward to this new show a lot, right? And I have this short anecdote I wanted to share with you guys. That I was waiting for the show. The show was like at 12:30 or something, or 11 on a Friday, and I was at work, right? And I got the notification on Instagram, and I just wanted to check out how it was, right? And someone was filming the show, this new show, and I was like, what is this? Is this really Anne, or did I stumble into something weird? This new show from Sebastian was very different, very different from everything that's been done before, that he has done before with the brand. But to be honest, it seems he wanted to change a little bit, bring a new vibe to the already existing one that they had before. So Sebastian said that what he wanted to do with this show is bring a little bit more of rock, or the classic rock look, rock star look, even, and he based all of this designs on 1980s and the time when the Antwerp Six were young and experiencing life, etc. I wanted to say that most of these shows, if you don't contextualize them, they might seem weird, or you might not understand them. For example, the Rick one or the Undercover one, if you don't have the context to it, you might not understand what is being shown, and you might not definitely like it. So with this show, definitely contextualization was very key, because from the outside it wouldn't seem it's a very out there, very left field kind of design choices here with for Demeulemeester. But if you dive into it, you might still see and understand what Sebastian did. So again, he based his whole looks on rock and roll, how the rock stars used to dress, the Mick Jaggers, I don't know, things around those lines. The Doors, very hippie. Hippie is the first word that came to my mind. Jimi Hendrix, a lot of very things like that. So let's go into the looks details. Okay, so this is the first look, very simple one, right? All throughout the collection, he showed this kind of bandana headscarf thing, which again reminds you so much of those Woodstock era bands, the whole classic rock, full of drugs, let's go crazy. But what I noticed looking at the details, and very into detail of these collections, of this collection, is that Sebastian is still bringing this new twist, because you can always do the same. I know some people always want the same, be it of music, art, or fashion, but you need to bring something new, something cool. And what he did is he brought this whole idea of the Antwerp youth, of as he featured in his Instagram, he featured a lot of images of rock shows, where the Antwerp Six went, or a lot of things from the Antwerp from that era, which he based his collection on, right? He took all of this, right, and he still kept his base on Demeulemeester fashion designs. You can see a lot of the combat boots that he's brought in the past. You can see a lot of the combat boots here look so similar to the one I have, which is from before 2013, I think, or maybe after, I think it's maybe 2014. And then a lot of the pants, they're the same exact pants that he showed in the previous fall winter one. So you can see a lot of elements of the feather, a lot of classic Anne elements, the fabrics, but still bringing this whole new thing into it. And the first look, very simple: the white shirt, the pants, the same pants with the buttons on the side, the same design as the ones from last fall winter. and the combat boots. Again, if you take out the headscarf, it's a classic and look for sure. Again, another one here with the whole headscarf, a little bit of the, I would say like a raccoon tail, I don't know, like a tail motif on the belt, and then the pants and the boots. Here come one of the more impactful pieces are this kind of cobweb-like sweaters that he put on top, very punk rock, very classic rock, with the contrasting color blue headscarf, and then those cool kind of pirate-esque boots, something you would see Keith Richards wearing for sure here. Then I want to feature this one, which is this beautiful red pinstripe, piratey, very, very classic, but still tying in with the whole, and look, the whole, Sebastian really likes to kind of undone things, kind of hanging things, threads going around. And here, in this other look, you can see the high quality garments, you know, the shirt, the red shirt here, you can remind it back to the hard luck shirt from last fall winter, but still amazing. Great for sure. And here you can see the shirt a little bit closer, very undone, very Sebastian-like, to be honest. Here is the same shirt in our color in green, which I really like. And then here you can see this very impactful look from the collection in bright orange with this brown, very, very punk rock for sure. And that's pretty much it. Definitely a very challenging showing of this Demeulemeester show. But if you contextualize it, if you think about it, if you dive deep into it, you can definitely understand. And absolutely, some of the pieces in this collection are very, very wearable. All the jackets, the pants, the boots, as always. But it's a bit of a left field turn, and to be honest, something very, very cool. So I really don't know what to expect from next ones, but very, very happy with this one. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. Those are all my favorite Paris Fashion Week shows. I'll be putting here on screen a few other names of other shows that I liked that you might want to check out. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me today. I'm sorry if it was a little bit long, but I wanted to talk deep about all of my favorite shows. Maybe someday I'll go even and I'll share with you guys from the shows in the future. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.